Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. My name is Muhammad Abrar and I am your English teacher. Today we are going to read Unit 10 of Grade 10 English, Unit 6 of Grade 10 English, In Spite of War. It is a poem written by Angela Morgan. Her name was Angela Morgan. She is a poetess, American poetess born in Washington, D.C. It was her pen name. Angela Morgan was her pen name. Normally use poets and poetesses for their writings. And her real name was Nina Lillian. It was her real name. She was born in 1875 and died in 1957. She was American, born in Washington, D.C. First, she was a journalist in the days of World War I. After the World War I, she became a poetess. She started writings as a poetess, and this poem was written at the time after the World War I. This poem is full of hope and encouragement. She is encouraging people. She is making people to believe that war is a bad thing, but life should go on. Life should never stop, and its joys and its beauties should continue. We should not stop living. Although there is a war going, there are problems, there are sufferings, but we need to continue our life as it was. We should never change our lives. So she encouraging us in this poem to live happily, to live with courage, to live with bravery, although there is a war going around, although there are problems, although there are sufferings. We will take start. In spite of war, in spite of death, जंग के बावजूद और मौत के बावजूद, मौत के सन्नाटे के बावजूद और जंग के बावजूद, in spite of all men's suffering और इंसानों के इन तकालीफ के बावजूद, जंग की वजह से लोगों को या इंसानों को जिन तकालीफ का सामना है उनके बावजूद, something within me laughs and sings. मेरे अंदर कुछ है जो गाता है, जो मुस्कुराता है और जो गुनगुनाता है. And I must praise with all my breath. और मैं तहे दिल से इसकी तारीफ करना चाहता हूँ. मुझ पर लाजिम है, ज़रूरी है कि मैं तहे दिल से, दिल की गहराई से इसकी तारीफ करूँ. Praise. Now here are some points we should look at. In spite, but we need to use of with in spite if we mean के बावजूद. And there is another word which used in the same context, but it doesn't need to take the preposition of after it to give the meaning of के बावजूद. If we use in spite, we have to put a preposition of, in spite of. But if we use despite, we don't need a preposition of. It means we can say despite war. We don't need to use or say in spite of, despite of. But we can say despite war. Another thing we should know, war, battle, fight, and quarrel. They are words used for almost the same purpose, but there is some slight difference in it. War is something which is contributed by more than two nations. We say war, battle, fight, and quarrel are of the same meaning, lalai, jang. But the difference in its usage is when that fight, that battle is contributed by more than two nations, more than two groups, more than two religions, it is called war. If it is fought between two religions, two nations, two countries, it is called battle. As we say World War I, World War II, because it was fought among many nations, not between two nations, not between two countries, but among many nations and many countries. So we say World War I, World War II, and battle. When it is fought between two countries, two religions, two nations, like Battle of Badr, Battle of Khandaq, that was fought between Muslims and non-Muslims. So we say battle, not a war. Fight, an interaction of two countries, two individuals, where there is a chance of getting hurt. When there are weapons or something instrumental used to compete each other, that is called fight, like a wrestling fight, like a boxing fight. When there is a chance of hurting someone or getting yourself hurt. And quarrel is only a verbal fight. When there is no physical interaction, that is called quarrel, only verbal. When we abuse, although we never should do that, but when we abuse or when we say something bad to someone else, it is called a quarrel, and we don't get physical. If we get physical, it is a fight. If we don't get physical and only verbal, it is a quarrel. So, praise. Praise means tarif. If the spelling is P-R-A-I-S-E, tarif. And praise, when we say a sentence that is not a combination of words, that is not complete in sense, na mukammal jumla, a part of a sentence. When we say praise, we mean that a part of a sentence, not a complete sentence that gives us complete sense, so we say praise. And we also say self-praise is no recommendation. अपनी मुंह या मिट्टू बनना कोई अहमियत नहीं रखता. One praise himself is of no value. Praise is something when someone else do to you. If someone is praising, that is of value. If you are praising yourself, it has no value. In spite of war, in spite of hate. In the second stanza, we say, in spite of war, in spite of hate, जंग के बावजूद और नफरत के बावजूद. इस जंग की वजह से जो नफरत फैली है, इंसानों की आपस में जो नफरत पैदा हुई है, उसके बावजूद lilacs are blooming at my gate. Gulias, a kind of flower, a variety of flower, lilacs, gulias are blooming at my gate. मेरे दरवाजे के सामने खिली हुई है. Blooming, खिलना. खिलना. In lilacs, gulias. Tulips are tripping down the path. Our gulilala रास्तों में झूम रहे हैं, तरक रहे हैं, नाच रहे हैं. Tripping. Tripping, तरकना, झूमना, नाचना. In spite of war, in spite of wrath, we can pronounce wrath, W-R-A-T-H, one pronunciation, wrath. कहर, शदीद गुस्सा, गज़ब, अज़ाब, roth, or we can pronounce wrath. W is silent. Roth and wrath, we can pronounce both ways. In spite of war, in spite of wrath or wrath, जंग के बावजूद, और कहर इस जो जंग का ये जो अजाब है, इसके बावजूद जो गोले लाला है वो रास्तों में तरक रही है, नाच रही है, झूम रही है. The nature is doing his work. Nature is not stopping. Although there is a war going on, but nature is not getting stopped. Lilacs are blooming at my gate. और जो गुलियास है वो मेरे दरवाजे पर नाच रही है, झूम रही है. Courage, the morning glory saith. सुबह की जो ये रोशनी है वो मुझे कह रही है कि हौसला करो. मुझे कह रही है, मुझे तसल्ली दे रही है कि तुम हौसला करो, हौसला बढ़ाओ. Rejoice, खुशी मनाओ, खुश हो जाओ. The daisy murmured, जो गुल दाऊदी है वो गुनगुना कर कहती है कि तुम खुश हो जाओ, अपनी जिंदगी में खुशी लाओ, गम और अफसोस ना करो. Saith, here is the word saith and murmured. There are not such words in English language like saith or murmured, but the poetess has only invented these new words to rhyme the poem. In the early stanzas, there are words used at the end like death with a th ending, like breath with a th ending, like path, like wrath with a th ending. So she invented new words to continue that rhyme of th ending words. So she turned say into saith and murmur into murmured. Murmur mean gungunana. Say mean कहना. They are not new words. Murmur, gungunana, बड़बड़ाना, सरगोशी में बातें करना, खुद से बातें करना, आहिस्तगी से बोलना. When you are whispering something. Rejoice mean खुश हो जाना. And just to live is so divine. और ऐसी जिंदगी बसर करना बहुत मुक़द्दस है, बहुत पाक है, बहुत नेक है. Divine, we say. Here we can say पाक or नेक. And its other meaning can be Rabbani, related to God, related to Allah, anything. We say it is divine, it means ये रब्बानी है, अल्लाह की तरफ से है, अल्लाह के हाथ में है. Life and death is divine. जो जिंदगी और मौत है वो अल्लाह के हाथ में है. उसका ताल्लुक़, उसका रिश्ता या उसका इख्तियार जो है वो अल्लाह से है, इंसान के इख्तियार में नहीं है. And just to live is so divine. और ऐसी ज़िंदगी बसर करना बहुत नेक है, बहुत पाक है. When fancies lift their eyes to mine, जब बनफ्शा की पूल आंखें उठाकर मुझसे कहती है. Really, flowers cannot lift their eyes, but it is only to say something when they are moved by the wind, when a breeze is blowing, and when those flowers, those fancies are moving right and left, up and down. So the poetess just like metaphor, she used a metaphor. When fancies lift their eyes to mine, जब बनफ्शा की पूल मेरे तरफ देखते हैं, flowers can't see, but she is only imagining. तो जब बनफ्शा की पूल मेरी तरफ चेहरा करके देखते हैं तो ऐसी पाक जिंदगी गुजारना, and just to live is so divine, ऐसी जिंदगी गुजारना बहुत पाक है, बहुत नेक है. We have read 3 stanzas of this poem. The remaining 4 stanzas will be in the next lesson. If you have any question, any query, please do ask in the comment section. Allah Hafiz.